Welcome, everyone, to TEXAN Tailgate, episode 21. I am going to be your host this evening once again. My name is Robert, also known as Texan OG Day One. We still have not seen any signs of forest, no signs of life. If you want to see him, you got to pony up. You got to let me know just what he's worth. Otherwise, this is what you have to work with. And tonight, we are going to be talking about creating our own future through DeFi. So some things, we may have heard of before, in regards to the future. The past is the lesson, the present is the gift, and the future is your motivation. And oftentimes, it is a mission to get to the future, which is where we want to be, and nothing quite matters, just like the present moment. So, joining us tonight, we have Hexy Quinn, we have David Lee. How are you both doing this evening?
Doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. We actually this is my third time hosting, so third time is the charm. It's always good to have a nice smooth stream. So yeah, a lot of things have been happening in the crypto space. We're still in the middle of this bear market. So there's a lot of ups and downs, a lot of things going on right now. Battles, over regulatory clarity. When is there going to be light at the end of the tunnel? And I think these are going to be just some of the best times to really just kind of dial in and just focus on, what is our core fundamental mission? And these are some of the things we'll be going over. But we do have a special surprise guest tonight that I want to introduce. Uh, this is a very dear friend of mine. He had a very large role with onboarding me into crypto, and it's actually funny how that journey began. But with no further ado, I just want to introduce Logan. How's it going, man?
What's up, everybody? How are you?
Doing great. It's good to see you. I'm glad we were finally able to get you on stream. It's always great when we can get the community involved and bring people on. And that is something we want to do more often, which we will be putting that out there in the TEXAN Telegram chat. So I think the only requirements we really have is, not a lot of cursing and just please wear a shirt. other than other than that, it's requirements are, pretty reasonable, basic for the most part. But how's everybody feeling tonight?
Man, thank
I'm
you, Logan,
excited.
for being here.
Yeah, this is great.
Sorry.
I never really talked to you guys on stream ever, so I'm never on stream. This is kind of like my first time being on any sort of crypto live stream, so this is great. I'm always lurking in the background, so yeah, here I am.
Yeah,
on camera.
Yeah, so just real quick for the audience, just tell us a little bit about yourself. When did you get into crypto, and what exactly resonated with you? What kind of, you know, because at some point we all made that leap from the traditional finance world into DeFi, and there's something that resonates with all of us.
So my background, I have a formal degree in finance and economics, and by formal I mean I spent a lot of money in getting those two pieces of paper. This was back when I was, 21, 22. I sort of woke up, if you will, back in the Ron Paul days when I figured out everything was pretty much a scam. And midway through college, I actually had sort of debates with my macroeconomics teacher, professor, and that's where it all kind of started from there. He was more Keynesian, I was more Austrian, naturally. And I saw problems, deep problems with how we handle our money and how things are ran. And so fast forward to about 2019, 2020, I got into crypto, and relatively speaking, compared to legacy, it's night and day. And I don't think people really have a grasp on that. And unless you have like direct experience with both. And I'm not saying that, people are short-sighted or anything like that. I'm suggesting that when you consider the gains versus the losses in both legacy and crypto, it's very polarizing. And you don't really have perspective on that until you experience both. So obviously we know legacy is kind of slow and go, and crypto is the complete opposite in both ends. And we have to keep perspective of that, because this is the time when we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel, and it seems like all hope is lost. Well, guess what, guys? That's a derivative play on legacy, and that's what we're facing right now. And if you're walking away now, you're missing the sweet spot. This is the best place to be right now. And so when you shift your perspective in that regard, you really understand, hey, this is I don't want to say once in a lifetime opportunity, but very few times in your life will you be able to experience this. But to answer your question, to finish it off, I got into crypto through Elrond, and that kind of got my feet wet. And Elrond, like most other things, hasn't been doing that well. And then I saw a Richard Hart stream in 2021, I think, and that really opened my eyes to a lot. And I was like, man, this dude, he knows what the hell he's talking about. Like the watches didn't bother me, the flash didn't bother me. I don't care about it. I learn from my enemies. I really do, and I try to. And whether you like the guy or not, you can still learn from him. And so that's where it all started with me. I average price at that time, I got into Hex at around 5 cents. I think like a lot of people did. That was sort of a wave of adoption around that time, around that price point. And sacked heavy for Pulse X, and I don't regret it. I'm holding. I've never sold a thing in any crypto, just because I'm so excited. This is like an amazing opportunity that I would never ape in something else, because little bit of a secret, guys, everything else is trash. It's garbage. There's no yield. It's you don't hold your own keys, right? You don't have control over your money in the banking system, right? You're in a great spot. And if you lend yourself to the DCA and ease in, ape in, whatever you want to do, just know what you hold, and you'll be all right. But that's sort of a little bit of me. I can go on, but we'll be here for a while.
No, absolutely. Well said. And before we go any further, I just want to take a moment just to run through chat here real quick. We got Crypto Compassion, hey fam. We got Romanian Dan. We got Godfather J6 in the house. We got Samantha. Good evening, y'all. Got, let's see, Drix. Good to see you. Thank you for always showing up here. Really do appreciate you. We got Hex Force One, Samantha again. Hit the like on your way in. That is always a great thing. And ooh, Romanian Dan, sick painting, Logan. Orange Wizard, love it. Yeah. So
this is the Flammarion. I know a few people would like that from. But I won't mention it, but a few people would like that. I know Robert likes it.
Oh, of course. And speaking of crypto, like just for laughs real quick, how did that conversation go when you first tried to introduce crypto to me? What exactly did it take to get me on board? Because I know at one point in time, my perspective, which I feel that's pretty much the majority of life. Everything is mental. Our thoughts create our reality. Our perspectives are everything. So there was a time where I wouldn't have touched crypto with a 20-foot pole, mainly because I didn't know anything about it. But do you recall how that conversation went down?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. So it's like, hey, Robert, what do you know about crypto? And I think he said something like, well, I mean, it's fake money. I know that. It's like, cool story, man. What do you think? What do you think dollar bills are? What do you think the money, the digits in your bank account is? What do you think that they are? And you had like this epiphany after a while. You thought about it, and you're like, what son of a, this is it. you realize, hey, wow, this is like we're peeling the layers of the onion, right? And we should never stop doing that. But financially speaking, that's a big layer of the onion. So it was kind of funny. You could probably elaborate better than I did, but it was pretty funny if you were there.
Yeah, so back before I got into crypto, I had my tinfoil hat on, probably a little too tight, where the blood flow circulation was, probably a little bit restricted. And I looked at crypto as something that was just as volatile and rigged as like the lottery or going into a casino. And I had never gotten into investing ever before in my life. And I also, looked at crypto as part of like the, cashless society, like it's all a bad thing. So as long as I had that perspective, I remained very limited. And then, I knew that my friend here, Logan, was, being honest and straight with me. And I took it upon myself to look into it and learn. And then 2 years later, here we are. We're on a YouTube live stream talking about crypto, something I never thought I would be involved with. But then again, we're also on this mission together. And, you know, Texan Token is more than just a crypto. It involves a mission that revolves around tokenizing communities and shaping our future. So I just want to kind of, go around the panel and just kind of ask, like, what does that mean to each of you? And what do you think our fundamental mission statement, how will that shape and impact our future? So we'll go from, Hexy Quinn to David and just go all the way around.
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, so the mission.
Just the first part. The first. What does Texan Token mean to me? Is that what you said?
What does the mission behind Texan Token mean to you, and how will it shape our future?
It means everything, and it is our future. Freedom and sovereignty. What's more important than that? I don't know. It's my light at the end of the tunnel for sure. And the mission to change the money, change the world, all of that.
Absolutely. David, what's going on, man?
Figuring out
David,
how
are you
to
there?
hit the mute button, unmute.
Oh, no worries.
Logan, thanks for being on, man. You're one of those positive lights in the chat, and it's great to sit down with you on the tailgate. Just wanted to start off with that.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm gonna go a lot of where Logan did. Some of it comes from the vision and the wisdom of the founders that you find a truth and a connection to those values where you can then share the vision. And, thank goodness for Richard. I think he educated us all and gave us a lot of tools. But then, with Texan and Crypto Heartbeat and Rags, it was taken, it's kind of like refining the shining light and pointing it towards the shining city on the hill, where it's freedom and it's sovereignty, but it's even much more than that. And we've got to see some of that since June, with Matt, the Pulse Promise, the Compassion Cartel, and it's already inspired. We have the Right Hand Foundation, this last, by Danny the Singer and his family out doing good works. Matt interviewed Jim with Charity Chain this week. So there's two big themes that constantly keep me passionate and excited about being in this community, and what Texan and Ophir and pretty much anything these guys put out. Right there, Matt's calling was to unlock global generosity, and with Rags, it's unchaining the captives. How can you not just love that when we see every day this legacy system that is, talking about peeling back an onion, the layers of corruption and its involvement in and things that are just evil. I mean, might as well call it what it is. What's happening on the southern border and the trafficking of children being almost facilitated by the Department of Homeland Security. Most of us probably feel maybe some repulsion with taxes, knowing where our tax money is going. So, yeah, I think TEXAN is for the individual combined with DeFi. And Matt says it, it's his first time where we can disconnect money from the political power. And what we're doing as we're getting more into the system is we're transferring our financial energy from that corrupt system that we really don't, we don't trust it, we don't like it, and we'd rather just see a decentralized parallel alternative, and we're growing it. We're watching it. We saw it birth last July, and we're just over a year since that announcement, and it's awesome. Sorry for the long answer, but yeah, it is something that I love and I'm passionate about. I seriously, I love the founders, the community, the contract, the token, and the vision, where we're going. It's as good as it gets.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. And sometimes we just things resonate with us on so many levels that we just don't even realize. And Logan, tell me what does that mean to you?
So TEXAN absolutely resonates with me. I'm a day one Texan, literally. I was born in Conroe, Texas, and I grew up north of Houston. Then we moved to Florida, and then I moved back to Texas, and I lived there for 19 years. Then I moved back to Florida. But I can tell you 100%, like, the ethos there is 100% different from anywhere else in the country. I've been in all 48 states. I've been in Canada multiple times, and like Texas has a different vibe. Like, the people are serious. Like, they take their freedom seriously, and I think TEXAN is going to play a big role in that personal sovereignty aspect when it comes to finance and accounting and accountability. So when Brandon started talking about TEXAN, I was very interested. I was like, "Wow, this is amazing." I think the future looks bright, but it's going to take max pain, kind of like crypto cycles, in order to get there. I don't think it'll be quick. I think it might take a little bit of time, but when people finally realize and wake up with what's going on and how powerful Texas can be as their own independent sovereign nation, like, wow, it's going to take max pain to get there, I guess is what I'm saying. But I think what would really help with that perception is, I think people confuse crypto with CBDCs or the digital dollar. And I think, you mentioned earlier with your tinfoil hat, which I might have,
Yeah.
or I might not have. I think people confuse that, especially a lot of Texans, they confuse that. And I think once that myth is dispelled, I think they'll really realize, oh, wait, we have something really good here. And I think it needs to start with that, because we have 450, 500,000, however many it is, members of the Texas nationalist movement, but we could have so much more. We could have millions. We could have probably a couple million if people realized overnight, oh, wait, this isn't CBDC. This isn't a part of that system. It's something completely different. It's like the antithesis of CBDC. So yeah, I hope that answered your question. But I mean, future looks bright, but it might take some time to get there.
No, absolutely. And a lot of times the best way to dispel myths, rumors, and FUD is just being genuine, authentic, and providing the best education, resources, and onboarding tools, which is what we focus on. Main focus is we really try to meet no coiners where they're at and try to onboard them. And as the founders, Crypto Heartbeat and Brandon, have often said many times, we want to have like a alternative to the CBDCs, so that people are not just feeling like they're just stuck with this one choice and only choice. And, none of us really know exactly what that's going to look like or what, particular shape or form it's going to take. But I've often said many times, I feel like it's like a reboot to the United States dollar because fiat currency in itself is failing, and it's basically trying to recapture people's faith in the national currency fiat dollar, which is literally not backed by anything. So, and honestly, at the end of the day, it is all, imaginary, fake, made up internet money, but, it's by decree. It's what we collectively consent and place our value on. And real quick, we got Viber Finance. What up, Texans? We got Rags to Riches. Thank you, fam. Uh, let's see. Make sure I don't hit the wrong button. We got Clintrons. Good morning from down under, Texans. So we got Mobius in the house. So good to see all of you. Thank you all for being here. And one of the things that I really feel like this is a really great time to address this topic is, in your opinion, we'll just go round and round again. Why is this the best time to onboard no coiners into crypto? Things look like just really depressing, really down. And I understand it's hard for people to get excited about, things that aren't particularly exciting. But looks like we have another guest joining. So with no further ado, I will go ahead and bring him out. We have
What's
Crypto
up?
Heartbeat.
What is up, my friend? Robert, you're the host.
I am.
Robert said, ooh.
What's up, Quinn, Logan, David?
What's up, Matt?
Hey, how's it
How
going?
you
I
doing,
mean, they're paying Robert the big bucks to.
I know.
To
Look
beat
at he's in
us,
the big office there. Man, doing something
Yeah.
right.
Office, got the shirt.
You
So
got it all.
yeah. Well, this is closest to the Wi-Fi, so that's why I'm not fading in and out. So that's why I like to use the office. But yeah, no, we're just we're discussing, creating our future right now through DeFi. So we'll just go around the table again. So, anybody have any thoughts, Quinn, on why is now the best time to onboard and get into crypto, even when things look absolutely at their worst?
Why is because, it's the bottom. It's the bottom of the bear. It's the best time to buy when things look the worst. And it sucks, but that's when people want to buy tops. They're like, oh, it is doing good, I'll buy now. But it's so hard, especially no coiners, to explain that or for them to realize that and trust you. But right now is the best time, Robert.
Oh, absolutely, and well said. And when I first came into crypto in July of 2021, I unfortunately started buying the top because I did not know what I was buying. And I hear from Brandon so many times, build your position now, folks, because once this really gets kicking, it's we're not going to see these levels again. But David Lee, what are your thoughts?
It kind of goes along with what you were saying. We all know at the bottom of the bear is where we want to be buying, but thinking about those onboards, those no coiners, and it's a great also time, gives us the opportunity to illustrate how volatile this crypto is, digital assets are, and as much as it can go down, it can go up, and when it can go down, you need to know that there is a cycle and it is going to go down. So, because us coming in, I came in around the same time you, Robert, and no, we didn't know we were buying the top. So, since we're focused on education, I want that's going to be a part of mine. What lies ahead of you now that you've chosen this course?
Yeah, no, exactly. Logan, what are your thoughts?
So it's a paradox, right? Like, hey man, buy this coin. I know the chart looks like trash, but I want you to buy it. So what do you do in that instance, right? Well, it's if it resonates with them, you push forward, right? Maybe get them to open up a wallet, start off small, fund $20, $50, $100, whatever. And then when they start to see those green candles, they're already in. They already got their Coinbase, they already got their Coast, they already got their whatever, and they could start DCAing or they could throw a few thousand or whatever it is that they want. But really, you just want to get them in, get their foot in the door. And if you could do that, I think, once we see the big swings upward, finally, they're gonna be like, oh, I got to get in on this, right? But it's a paradox. How do you sell them? And the only way to sell them on something is to give them something for free, or have them start off very small and just get their foot in the door, because it's not going to resonate with everyone. Right? I can go to my brother and I'm gonna be like, hey man, buy this down forever coin, right? It's down 85%. You should buy it. It's a great price. It's not gonna sell him, right? But if I open up a wallet for him, if I give him $100, he starts to see overnight, oh wow, it went to $200 now. Okay, I'm gonna look more into this. And so really that's all we can do. We can't sit here, unfortunately, and say, yeah, I can easily onboard, 50 people in one classroom, right? But when you see green candles, you can do that. So it's going to take time, but as of right now, that's really the best we have. I mean, teach them the principles of why it's great, not teach them, why it went down 85% or whatever. Teach them what they can hold. And so that's what I would offer.
Yeah. And Matt, great to see you as always, by all means.
Yeah, it's great to see you. I've got deer sitting out here waiting for some corn. No, I agree with all those things. I think, crypto's for poor people, if you really think about it. I mean, the opportunity is for people who haven't seen, they don't have some big business. I talk to people who have, significant resources, people who are, anesthesiologists and trauma surgeons, and they're not the ones that are looking for some big gain. It's the people who have been struggling. And to me, this story of Texas independence, this story of, what are you going to do? Like, what are the options that you have? And you think about, crypto combined with independence they're just a match made in heaven, in my opinion. And so there's a lot of different reasons why people would get involved. But this idea that, what could be the catalyst for independence? Well, certainly it's going to be some crazy, maybe over the border, it may be an issue like that, but it may be just the rest of things failing. Well, actually, if the rest of the things fail, crypto does well. And so to think that we've got, a hedge as well as potentially a catalyst for success, it's just adding one more benefit to it. And so to me, Logan, the reason I jumped on is I really loved what you said is, there's something different. You got to do your own research. You have to pick a horse to ride. We don't know what's going to take off and what's not. But if you look out there and you do your research, I look at things that are differentiated. Why did I join Hex? It was differentiated amongst everything else, right? There wasn't like Litecoin didn't have some great story, right? It was like, no, this is different. And
but Matt, the happening.
Yes, the happening. You've been listening to me too. Oh my gosh, yeah, the happening, my neighbor. It's so great, but it's so true. And I think that's the thing that people are attracted to is that there's a lot of different benefits within, crypto in general, DeFi in general. But I mean, I don't think you have to be too aware that things are going in the wrong direction and you think, you know what, this is a way that we can work together. And it not only is beneficial to the potential future of our families, but also personally, you could have a win in this too. But there's no promises, and I think even the term selling people on something isn't the right approach. I think what we need to say is, these tenets of DeFi, we're resetting the system, like you said, Robert, to rebooting it, getting it back to the popular control, that people actually have that kind of freedom and that kind of ability to say, no, we're going to choose a different way. And that's the most exciting thing to me is we've never had this opportunity to say, this is going to be our money. And it just takes enough people. I mean, I look at the value that was created from Hex, 150,000 people. I mean, that's not a lot of people in the world. And this story, I mean, that's the thing I'm excited about in this next bull run is, you know how many people are going to be their own marketing department in Texan? I mean, the beauty of it is we're here at this time, but the more and more things get crazy, the more it makes what we're doing more relevant. So I think it's a matter of time and sharing what differentiates us.
Well, what you said about the hedge with, disaster strikes. So what do you have? What are your options? Well, do you think the people in Zimbabwe would have liked to have an option?
Amen.
The people, Chile, or was it Argentina a
Yep.
few years ago, Japan in the 90s, right?
Yep.
They would have loved to have an option, and we have it now, right? At least in, I don't want to say the first world, but you know where I'm going with that. Hopefully, one day the Philippines will really get on board, India, the rest of Africa, and so that we don't really have to, you mentioned by decree, Robert. This is what it is. It's like, if you have the option to get on board to something else, you're going to take that option. And I'm not suggesting, like, obviously a lot of crypto wouldn't be necessarily correct for currency, but at least you have a place to store your value while the dust settles. And I really think, like you said, the catalyst, that's what it could be, and we have an option now. So
yeah, I think what's going to stand up in this next, not everything works out, right? And you kind of have to, you're betting on the future. What's so amazing though about crypto in general is the outsized gains. It took me an entire cycle to let crypto prove it to me, right? I didn't throw everything I had into it. I put my toe in the water and said, I wonder what this is like. I happened to pick a good one with Hex, but it's not, there's no guarantees. But that's why I think tying this, the first time to a political movement, to be able to have, staking and scraping, the ability to, hey, where are you going to go? I mean, I guess you could, get yourself into Bitcoin or Ethereum, but it's got to fit your values. That's how I look at it. We don't need everybody. We just need to be the people who believe.
Absolutely. And when I take a look at this, because we are on a mission for freedom and self-sovereignty, and one of the things that resonates with me so much about Texan is I like how we're putting an emphasis and focus on trying to onboard other communities, because I've told Logan many times that, eventually I want to see what we call the third world become the first world, where basically people have the same opportunities as we do. And we're not just so caught up in our own microcosm about, trying to, get wealthy, win Lambo. It's like we want, other people to have these same opportunities. And that's what I find so special about Texan is it's great that we're doing well, but we want to help other people do well as also. So what I wanted to ask everybody is, what does a call to action look like when it comes to freedom and self-sovereignty? Because we've got a lot of things going on with the Texas nationalist movement. We've got a TexaCon coming up. I do have information, direct links that I'm putting in the chats. I think I'm starting to echo a little. So, but just wanted to get everybody's thoughts. What does a call to action look like as far as freedom and self-sovereignty goes if we're trying to secure our future through DeFi?
I would also like to know that. So can we go the other way around? Can we start with Matt?
Absolutely.
Robert, are you talking about a catalyst, or what could you elaborate a little bit on that question, unless David or Matt has an answer?
So as far as like a call to action, like where do we start and what do we actually do to get that process started from start to finish? Like what does it take in your opinion? Sometimes my questions are too detailed specific.
No,
I mean,
it's good.
Go ahead, Matt.
No, I mean, I'm one of these people that if it's right, it's right. Right. Authenticity wins the day in all cases. And when you think about a group of people like us, we're like, you know what, we see it. We wish other people would see it. And, you know, I think there's a certain group of people that are optimistic, but they also they're paying attention. I would say the majority of people who are in Texan right now in a bear market are people who've got their ear to the ground. They're sensitive to what's happening in the world. They're sensitive to what's happening in the country. They're aware. And, you know, you think about movements like this, you know, I mean, Bitcoin's been around for what? We're going on 13, 14 years. You know, people know that this is out there. It's almost like it's just like Texas independence, right? It started out at 5% polling, and now it's at 66%. And what changed? Was it a better story? Was it a better argument? Was it a better sales pitch? No, the conditions have deteriorated. And so the beauty is you guys have seen it ahead of time. And I think that when you talk to people, you listen carefully to where they're at. And if they're people who are sensitive to what's going on, they're going to be asking the question, what can I do? And I think there's nothing greater than saying, hey, you can be a part of this movement, but also the money is changing at the same time. And the more we invest in storing our value here, the more we encourage the movement itself, because when the movement tips over, it's going to be because of macro things, in my opinion. I think it's going to be either border crisis issues and people are going to finally wake up and say, this is our only option. But there's going to be, you know, like Logan said, there's going to have to be this, you know, catalyst, or, you know, people have to be in the streets. For those that are out there paying attention, helping educate them about what it looks like for a future that is free, right? Free to transact. And, you know, I think a lot of people are really, they're working hard. They're trying to keep their nose above water, and they don't really understand what's happening in crypto because they think it's FTX. So I think the call to action is education on DeFi, but also how it ties into, you know, what you can do. I mean, just participating in this, you know, just imagine what would happen to Texan if there was a referendum. I mean, just take a guess. I mean, it's not just a crypto bull run, but what happens when, you know, this gets there? And to me, we're only moving closer to it. So I think there's a little bit of opportunity as well that you can say, hey, this is, you know, this is a good tip for you. But I don't know if it's one specific thing we say outside of looking for those people who are paying attention or are aware, but don't know, you know, which way can I go? Well, you know what? If you're somebody that has resources, when Babylon burns, you're going to be able to invest in the future. And, you know, I'm going to support things that are, you know, freedom and sovereignty centered.
Yeah. Adoption, right? It takes the right people.
Yep.
Took Matt, took Brandon. You know, you got David Lee, everyone here, Quinn, Robert. So you guys are a system, like a body is a system. I can give the analogy of an engine. I'm going to do that real quick. Hopefully this works. We'll see. But you think of a crank positioning sensor and a cam positioning sensor. What do those two things do? It's basically sensors that are right on the block of the engine that monitors very detailed, sensitive things, right? We are those sensors, but we need the engine to run. So what do? We go out and we get some fuel injectors, and they're the guys that are maybe educators. We got the throttle positioning sensor. We got the intake manifold. We got the exhaust valves, right? But it takes a group of people. You know, think of all the people that are in Hex. You know, you have educators, you have people who are on live streaming, you have people from you know, traditional finance, you have people who are real estate moguls. You got all these specialists. You have Richard Hart, right? The heartbeat of it all, Matt too. But you got all these people doing their thing, and so when green candles come, the adoption of people are coming out of the woodwork. I promise you that. That's all it takes. And we're sitting around here wondering, man, you know, why are prices down? You know, Texan's down. Not really. Texan's not really down, but you know, everything else is down, and it's like, well, green candles. That's all it takes. And then we're going to get more people like Matt, more people like Robert, and it just takes time. Really, I think the catalyst could be time, but you know, when you look at like other sectors, think of like human rights activists, for example, right? You would think they would be all on board with this because we're literally had the potential to take out, you know, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people in the Philippines out of poverty. Hello, guys, like, why are we not down with this? Why is more people not down with this? And the answer is, it takes time, it takes a few green candles, and then people realize, oh wait, this is another way to do things. We can cut out the middleman, do our own thing, and we have value here, right? So I don't know, man. It takes adopting the right people, and the right people are out there. I promise you, they're out there. You think when Matt saw that cheesy infomercial in the middle of the night, that you know, it takes these things, and it takes time, and so I think that's I guess the answer or part of it.
It's a good one too. You know, one of the ways that as a kind of the fundamentalist approach is looking at the leadership, and Matt and Brandon with the donation to charities kind of revolutionized it, how we do things, but it also gave us something else to look at. And I'd never really heard of the TNM, cursory at best, and jumped into them. And I, you know, a regular at Daniel Miller's late night coffee talk. It's Wednesdays at 9, and he's doing a news podcast now. And you think about, Matt mentioned, is it like 3% when they started this, and latest polls it was over 66%. It's good leadership with passion that's committed, and those are two things that Matt, Brandon, and Daniel all had in common. And it, you know, gave you faith, especially you know, you got to see it in action some. This last legislative session really kind of blew up, didn't go the way we wanted. And the TNM came out with, you know, it's been about 2 months now, but a whole strategy for the upcoming session. They, you know, they took the loss, evaluated it, came up with a new plan, and we're going. And TEXAN, November 9th through 12th, is part of that strategy. It is strategically placed between a couple elections, is primary, really important. And, you know, it's that kind of leadership, that kind of planning. It will lead to success down the road. And, yeah, Matt, you're going to be speaking there, aren't you?
Yeah. And, you know, that's the thing, you know, the theme of this, which is adoption, you know, it's I think it is a natural thing related to time. You know, we're not going anywhere. We're going to continue to tell the same story. And I think the story is going to be more and more interesting to people because it's going to be more painful, right? Things are going to be more painful, and people are going to look for alternatives. But I mean, just look at it right now. It's not easy to get money into the pulse chain. I'll be honest with you. I mean, there are ways you can, but it's not, you know, it's not like a smooth path. You know, there's things under attack. We still got stuff with the SEC. But that's the thing that's really cool about right now is that, you know, we're in a bear market. We're finding those people who are going to be like what you said, right? The intake manifold and the, you know, the sensors and all of these people. It requires that. But just look at TEXAN. You've got, let's say 1,000 people are going to be there. Well, one of the things that we're going to do is we're going to make sure everyone at TEXAN has TEXAN. They will have it. I'll give it to them personally. And the point is, well, wouldn't you want to tell somebody? I mean, you got 1,000 people telling 25 people, you got 25,000 people. There's only 150,000 in HEX. And so these things reach a point, but Logan's exactly right. We have to see a wholesale shift in the market itself and some green candles, right? We almost have to have leadership in permission, right? One of the things that makes me so excited about HEX and Pulse Chain is the whales are still in it. Like, don't be surprised. I saw the metrics of $100 million was pulled out of HEX. I'm sorry, yeah, 100 million. And you think about what's here. Those people are still around. And when they say it's go time, well, they're looking for the things that are basically indicating that it is go time. You know, not a lot of people want to buy big and have another leg down. And so I think the greatest thing is going to be the redemptive story out of this, because we don't just win because number goes up. number goes up and there's more that is done politically. And you think about what does that mean for, people in the future? Because if Texas becomes independent, it becomes a leader in the world. I mean, it's the 9th largest economy now. Just imagine where it goes from there. And, this is the path of the United States. We're going to see serious turmoil. Things will, be broken apart. But I think it's required for us to move forward with a future if we're going to preserve this thing. And it just puts us in a position that we can lead in the world, and we'll give permission to other places. And I love this idea of us continuing to add communities, because this idea, we're aligning ourselves with what's at core in people's hearts, right? People know that they're not to be oppressed and to be enslaved. And when you give somebody an option, well, we're going to be here when people realize, there's not too many places you can go to transact without having to interface with, tyrants. And so, yeah, I think it's cool, though. We have so many people already. We got over 20,000 holders currently. I mean, everybody that's dumped is dumped, and we're still above 20,000. I mean, you just wait till some green candles, and you watch when people start marketing on their own. One day I'm excited to see, I know I'll see a billboard on I-35 that I had nothing to do with. But that's the cool thing about Texas, though, is we have this proximity. I mean, unlike Hex, you don't know where your customer is. I mean, it could be anywhere in the world. We know where, 26 million of them are.
Yeah. Well, once the word gets out, Matt, you're going to speak to what, close to or right at 1,000 people.
Yeah. That'll come to TEXAN.
So those are people who are into this, like they're enthusiasts, right? So that's amazing to me, because you're going to reach someone who has a lot of pull with their own circle, multiple people, and they're going to get on board eventually, sooner or later. So like I said, I keep saying it just takes a little bit of time. That's really all it is. And by you doing this, you're obviously a leader in this. You got Daniel Miller, you to a lesser extent, Matt or Brandon, much lesser extent. But imagine if there's someone that comes up that's just like you, or just like, Miller, or just like Brent, right? We just haven't found them yet. So this is going to be a great opportunity. And yeah, TEXAN, it starts off with 1,000 people, but next year it could be 10,000 people, could be 50,000 people. We don't know.
Well, and you think about too, I mean, relationships matter, right? They get introduced to stuff. You get other opportunities from that. I mean, the power of networking certainly is there, but you make a really good point. And, you think about, these people are not crypto people. So much of the crypto market right now is just recycling money, right? People going from here to there. We're basically talking to the same audience and preaching to the choir. What's so cool, though, is this is new money. And there are people you don't know who they know. And the people that are going to be introduced to crypto, it'll be their first real introduction, because it's extremely relevant to what they care about. And to me, that's the key to this. It's this first phase of crypto, at least, altcoins, was about tech. And now we're looking at, what are the benefits of this tech, right? Rather than just saying, hey, what's the utility? Well, maybe birthing a new country. This is a new nation. What if this is something that could preserve things for your family? Well, we're talking about many, many, it's a order of magnitude greater than, some sort of, trading technology, some, metaverse gaming stuff. This is stuff that, actually impacts real people versus just nerds, and it's, that's the thing I'm excited about, is exposing it to, to regular people and tying it to something that they actually care about. And think about the combination too. Yeah, I've heard of Bitcoin. I've heard of Ethereum. Yeah, they went up a lot. That's kind of cool. Oh, what cycle are we in? Oh, this is interesting. This is new, and it's related to something I care about. Yeah, I'll expose myself to it, right? I'll take a flyer on it. Well, there'll be some who do that, and then some who invest significantly. That's all it takes, right? The adoption of those things. And then you get some green candles, and it's like, people wake up in the morning and they check the chart. I mean, I did it for 8 months. I mean, it's just it'll work itself out, and we're getting close. I mean, I think January 1st is kind of the we go into the next year. I think we're going to see things go crazy. Honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think so too. I mean, we're not in the business of making forecasts, but I think once we get through September and probably October, I think, I mean, I know what I'm going to do.
Yep.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, the happening's always the case, and you're right. We're not in the business of predicting, but we know these things follow cycles, and we know that. I mean, just look at what's happening with the BRICS countries. I mean, it's not like the dollar is, getting so much stronger. We know that fiat in general is challenging. I don't know if you saw a crypto banner on Friday with Raul Pal, but he made one of the greatest points I've ever heard about what's really happening in the world as it relates to the money printer having to turn back on and rates having to come back down. If you get a chance, watch that interview with Raul Pal and Crypto Banner. To me, it's one of the greatest indicators, because I think he's right on, that these things are already been priced in, and we have all of this COVID debt that is going to have to be dealt with, and you don't want the rates where they are today when you have to refinance that debt. And so the future is, we have to print our way out. It's the only option in this fiat model. And so, yeah, this next go around could be significant, and it's commonly kicked off with the halvening. But this Bitcoin ETF and all this, there's going to be retail money coming in, and it's going to become more mainstream. So, and I'm really curious what Elon Musk is going to do with X, because I think he's going to integrate some things that really give value to all of the ERC20s, at least through some sort of swap. So I think the future is extremely bright, but I think we've got something that others don't have, and that is something that could be so significant to the daily life of really Americans, honestly, but definitely Texans.
yep.
Absolutely. Hexy Quinn, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No.
Okay. No worries. I just want to make sure that
I'm just digesting all of this. The cranks are cranking. I love it. I love hearing this from you guys.
I think I saw David Lee raise his hand.
Oh, you did. David,
I did.
Go ahead.
I'm just kidding, David.
No, I didn't, but it's sitting here thinking about it. When the green candles come, and at a time like this, when Sami, right? He talks about Metcalfe's law all the time, and I think Raul Paul might have touched on it in some in that interview. Having access to 1,000 people, that would be, if you stake those people, it would be like a 20% increase of stakers. You're just doing Sami math, right? I'm excited about TexaCon and being able to introduce Texan to a bunch of people that need to know about it for the future. The opportunity is not just generational, changing the generational family tree, but it's the entire world. It's pretty awesome.
Well, we've got. Go ahead, Quinn. I want to hear from you.
I'm just going to say it's super important because, the people attending TexaCon, it's important that Matt's there, and it's important Brandon's there, or the speakers are there, because, you Google, should I invest in crypto? And the first words across the screen, fraud, hacks, scams. You have Forbes, you have all these big names, you have the media. And I mean, you don't even have to read those articles. Fraud, hacks, and scam. Nope, I'm not investing. So it's super important that people with the knowledge get out there and explain it the way you guys explain it, because it's a no-brainer coming from you guys. Reading these articles is just terrifying. I wouldn't invest, so it's cool that you guys are doing that.
Well, you look at a guy like Sam Kemp, I mean,
yeah.
Why is Sam Kemp in it? Is because he had a trusted friend who said, hey, and that's why I think communities of trust are so important, is that if you did just a straight Google search, right? That's the first thing I did after I saw that Hex TV ad. I mean, I looked at it and I watched a bunch of the, the people, criticizing Richard, and I was able to forge my way through that. But you have a group of people that you already trust that are, with a cause. I mean, that's helpful. One of the things I wanted to share about TEXACON, which I don't think a lot of people know about, is that we are going to do an event on Thursday. And so what they've done is they basically reserved the Waco Convention Center for an extra day for Texan. And so that Thursday before, on the 9th, we have the whole facility. And so we're going to do a special event, and they're going to give a ticket to that event to all TEXACON attendees. So they'll be able to come to that, and that will be specific Texan event. We might be tying in some pulse chain stuff as well. But I'm really excited. We're going to basically kick off the entire thing with our own, probably a meetup. There'll be seminar. And then, obviously we'll go into the conference itself, but there's some pretty big name people they're talking about getting to come. And I think it's going to have, pretty decent press, but like Logan said, I mean, this is the first, right? This is the first of many. So.
And speaking of Texas, Matt, you have a new channel with Matt Long. Can you tell us a little bit about that? From my understanding, it's going to be covering the TNM and the political landscape and things that are going on, because usually we're very crypto focused, and I believe this is to really shed some light on what's going on with that.
Yeah, we're trying to be, it's called Preserving America in Texas. And it's really, Matt Long and I, unfortunately, we launched it in the summer when all of us had all kinds of busy stuff to do, but we'll be picking up on that Wednesdays at noon Central Time. And really it's just what you said, right? This is about looking at, Texas history, Texas independence, but really this idea of preserving America. A lot of people think that if you're supporting Texas independence, that you hate America. And that's actually couldn't be anything, further from the truth. Is that there's, that Oliver Anthony song, you're living in a new world with an old soul. There's so many people who are like, when I grew up, we didn't have these same concerns. And there was and maybe it was just that we didn't know about all the craziness, but there's an element of values and certain, certain things that we have to defend. And the origins of America is really what Texas is all about, right? And, one of the things that's a challenge for the TNM is they can't take positions, right? They can't take political positions in the sense of social issues, right? They can talk about what does it look like, but they're doing it the right way. The Scottish referendum had a challenge because one political party took over the independence movement, and it really came along party lines, and it didn't pass. They're trying to avoid that and do it the right way, which is to say everyone needs to have a seat at the table. If you're a liberal in Texas, you're welcome. This is not something to say, well, this is a Republican effort. No. We're trying to preserve what is great about America. Well, is it not being preserved? Is it being attacked? Are things out of control? Is there an administrative state that's built up that's become the fourth leg of government? Are we controlling people through regulatory actions? What are the things that are the elements of a new republic? And, there's not an interest, I don't believe, in changing the system from this representative republic. It's about rebooting the system. And it's really, it's you're starting from scratch and rethinking things in this 21st century and saying, all right, what if everyone had an even, footing, it had a seat at the table? And what if we agreed on some basic things? And I don't think it's hard to reach some agreements, like maybe the justice system should be fair and equal for all people, regardless how much money you have. Well, that's not a bad idea, right? What if we did actually care about the family? What if we did protect people's right to worship however they want? What about free speech? What about movement? What about money? What about these things? And have those kind of conversations. That's what I'm looking forward to with Texas independence. Is it's really a reboot, which is a great term, right, for Texas. but that's what the channel is about. And so, that's what we're aiming to do, is to have those conversations really that the TNM can't have, because they're really more of an educational group about, the referendum and independence and what it means versus, political action related to, social issues, let's say. That's one thing they steer away from.
Absolutely. And yeah, it's just so great to be able to cover those kind of topics because we are comprised of people in our community that are very familiar with crypto, and then we're just a big melting pot of like no coiners and people of all different skill sets when it comes to cryptocurrency. And it's also sometimes hard to imagine how quickly we can take up just 1 hour. And it's always so much fun coming on here and doing these streams. And I just want to say thank you to everyone for coming on. Appreciate everyone in the audience. Thank you for being here as well. Does anybody have any closing thoughts? Anything that you want to get off your chest?
Yeah, I'll throw something in real quick. Matt, thanks for the new channel. I think it's the biggest blind spot that this community has. They're focused on crypto, and they've got plenty of examples in the last few years why you need to pay attention, because you can't live in your bubble. It will come for you.
Yeah, I think the allegory is 1-to-1 with if you see Texit with what they're doing, and then you see Texan with the crypto, it's the same people. It's just the same people. You just got to get them in front of each other, right? You mentioned Oliver Anthony, and I'm rarely on Twitter. I try to stay away from it, but I did see one of his Twitter posts where he said he's not going to endorse one side or the other, and that I was like, oh, dude, that's amazing. That's great. And he's not going to cave in. All the comments a lot of them were negative, like, how dare you should be blah, blah, blah. The standard. I was like, man, this dude would be about Texit. I know he would. And, same principles. Everything that he mentioned in that song that, Matt, you had on one of your streams, everything he mentioned, this described Texit to a T. Texan, when it came to the financial aspect of it. But I think, look, it's going to get worse before it gets better, but it is going to get better. And so we always have to have that perspective. I mean, this is life, right? If crypto has you down in one way or another, you go out and you do something else. Be great at what you do. If you're not great at anything, go find something to be great at. And crypto isn't your life. It's just an aspect of it. So that's what I can offer. That's my closing statement. And I really appreciate you having me on, Robert. And it was great talking to you, David and Quinn. And thanks for hopping on, Matt. It's great to see you.
Yeah, you too.
No, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely have to get you on on another stream going forward. And before we wrap up, I do want to share a few things real quick for the audience so they know where to find us and the correct information. This is Preserving American Freedom in Texas. This is the channel. We're currently at 62 subscribers, so we need at least 100 so we can get that up and running to get some videos going to cover all things Texit related. The other thing I wanted to share with the audience real quick is we got TexitCon, which is coming to Waco in November. So all the official links have been placed in the comments section. So just real quick, spanning from November 9th to the 12th, TexitCon is not just another gathering. It's a movement that brings together top experts, influencers, and passionate advocates to discuss the future of Texit, politics, and the broader theme of self-determination. With over 50 speakers, more than 50 sessions, and an array of exhibitors, attendees are guaranteed an experience that's both enlightening and empowering. So that is where you can find that information. The other thing is you can always click on events, which will show you what the TNM's got going on and where they're going to be at. So a lot of great resources and information. And as always, finish out lastly, we've got the Texan token link tree. So special shout out to Hexy Quinn. Thank you so much for putting this together. So all the links for everything you could ever try to find Texan related are going to be right here in this link tree. Oftentimes when we have new people that are coming to crypto for the first time, sometimes there can be that confusion of like, am I in the right Telegram group? Do I have the right token contract address? And, it's always good to give people the right information and point them in the right direction. And we got My Online Ghost. Thank you for another great stream. Thank you, fam. Later all. So this has been episode 21, and next week we have episode 22 going ahead with that special number. So we will be back next Sunday. And does anybody else have any closing thoughts before we wrap this up?
I just want to say thank you to Logan for being on. I mean, you're a leading indicator, Logan. I mean, it's guys like you who are sensible people, who are smart, who are well-spoken, who are in the community. I mean, that's all it is. And everybody's got a voice. And I just encourage anybody, I just love the Oliver Anthony reference. A month or so ago, the guy was crying in his truck, right? He didn't know what to do. He was drunk. He was high. He was not knowing where to go and what to do. And he just basically went to the Lord, and next thing you know, here he is. And you don't realize the power of, what your commitment is and your decision making is, and how it impacts people around you. And so, Logan, thanks for being here, and thanks for being a part of this movement. It's I like how you say it. It's going to get worse before it gets better, but this is our job, I believe, in this generation, is to be the ones who fix this mess. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt. I appreciate it. Thanks for everything you've done.
Yeah, you bet, man.
Yeah.
No doubt, Matt. Logan, thanks for being the bright light.
Yeah.
Robert, being the host with the most. Hexy Quinn for taking the time to polish the turd. And Matt, appreciate you, brother.
All right.
All righty. Well, thank you so much for joining, and we will be back next week. So this has been TEXAN Tailgate, episode 21. And just remember, what we do here in the present is what will shape our future. So we will be back next Sunday. So thank you very much, and we will see you next week.